those older than me were children, the Mass was in Latin, and we heard part of this gospel that I just read every Sunday. The Mass, for the most part, was in Latin. There was some of the readings were read in English as well as Latin. But at the end, they had what they called, just before the priest left, the last gospel, and the last gospel was this: in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And so as I grew up, I heard, or everyone in that generation heard that gospel, this gospel. I can't say when I was young, though, that I understood as I understand it now. Now it takes on a deeper and deeper resonance with me. I begin to see in a deeper way that the whole world is sustained by God. And I'm not amazed that the world does not see that himself, as it says here. The world came, but the world came to be through God, but the world did not know him. It doesn't surprise me that much of the world does not know the Lord. And it doesn't surprise me that he came to his own, but his own people did not accept him. I've come to understand there is in us a resistance to good news, really. There's a will to power that sometimes removes us from what's in our life-giving interest. And I've come to believe in the deepest way possible that the glory of the we saw his glory, the glory of the Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. When we celebrate today the birth of Jesus, we celebrate the beginning of something that continues in every moment. Not simply, obviously, on a day when we celebrate that, but in every day. And we celebrate it in a way that we know that the darkness will not overcome it, as this reading says. Because not everyone who gathers for a celebration today is filled with joy. There are people who are mourning lost loved ones of this past year. There are others who would be worried perhaps about their job or about their home. There are others who feel isolated and alone. It is the way of human life. There is darkness as well as light. But the message of this gospel is true. The darkness will not overcome the light. Not in our darkest days, not in our most alone times, not in our most removed feeling from God. Because the promise of the incarnation is not that Jesus became human and lived a life, which of course is the main point, but that he continues, God continues, through the Holy Spirit and through the baptism that we'll celebrate, to be with us in the joyful times ahead. The offer continues. It continues for you and me. It continues for us who are filled with joy today to be with our families, and us who are sad to be far apart. The offer is there. The darkness will not overcome. And so I've come to understand in a way that I couldn't as a child, because there hadn't been much darkness in my life to that point. And I hadn't realized I was in a family that was surrounded and went to church. Less so now, of course. But now I understand that it doesn't, the offer is always there. And not simply this day when we light the trees, gather together, but in the dark times too. The darkness will not overcome it. The Word became flesh, it says, and made his dwelling among us. And we saw his glory, the glory of the Father's only Son, full of grace, full of truth.